Okay, people, I'm going to try and keep this short. I'm actually getting kind of teary-eyed here. This is the petition Justice for ShaMay. Okay, for anyone that's been following my channel, we know that I'm getting close to serving my government of British Columbia, Canada, aka the Honorable David Eby, Attorney General, right? And then there's Minister Farnworth, something like that. He's a solicitor, attorney general. Okay. So anyway, I just want to share the good news here, people, because what I do is I always check to see who my friends are. Seriously, man. Okay. And who haven't fell off the wayside. Okay. And Truth for Reality seems to be one of those individuals who's towed the line. Okay, that's what it's called. It's called towing the line. Right? When you're going up against something that's very, very evil and sinister and heinous. Okay, it's like, you know, you're going into a I'm gonna cry, people. I've never really cried for ShaMay. Maybe I'll have this huge breakdown. You know that? Let it all out and just let it cry out. I've only done that once in my life. And that was with my mother. And it took me about a week after the fact of her death, at her wake, when all my family members, my aunts and uncles and my grandmother and cousins and everybody was running around, and I don't know, I just broke down, people. I fell to my knees. And I just let it all out. That's the only time I've ever done that in my life, when it relates to somebody dying close to me. Okay? So anyway. So every now and then, I go to his channel. I Google Justice for ShaMay just to see what comes up. He's always at the top with his video. And then there's some of my videos in there mixed in with that mole's videos. Because, you know, it's easy to attach NuNationsUnity to the title and get into the search engine that way just to be a mole. But regardless, okay, Truth for Reality has been towing the line. Okay? It's been a long time, people, a couple years now, right? ShaMay died April of 2018. We're going into April of 2021. Now, people are like, why did it take her so long to even get to this point? Well, that's because I inherited a severely disabled child that basically I've been getting a lot of runaround with, people. Okay? And just to give you an example, okay? I don't know how long this video will be, but I'm going to do it anyway. Just to give you an example, because, you know, in light of what my family doctor has just recently done to me and my family, because it's not just me that he's affecting. He's affecting my whole family when it comes to quality health care. Okay? You know? Without breach of trust and all this other shit. So anyway, what was I saying? I inherited a severely disabled child that people basically were negligent to document it from the very beginning, because they were trying to prevent from being held to account with the birth injury at the time of his birth. Okay? And because they can simply say, ha, we didn't do an MRI, so therefore, because we didn't document that he had brain injury the minute we gave the mother a C-section, because we didn't do the MRI and document it that he had brain injury, you can never hold us to account. Ever, because it's written in the legislation. Right? That's what I've been up against, people. Okay? As they're everybody running around, what's wrong with Amari? What's wrong with Amari? Because I'm like, there's something wrong. You're the doctors, you tell me, right? So they book him in for when he was right? In November of 2018, after ShaMay died, they book him in at the Surrey Memorial Hospital, and they botched the MRI, people, because of fucking bullshit going on with the technicians at that time. Got a video on that, okay? And then, of course, I have to go find another doctor, okay? So, and then I get my family doctor, people, to fill out, just, because I'm being dickered around. And this is what I mean by towing the line. Okay, towing the line. Right? Truth for Reality has been towing the line for a long, long time, as I'm being dickered around as if I'm the fucking one that injured my grandson. Okay? As if I'm the one that's the freaking criminal here, right? As if I'm the one that's doing everything fucking wrong and they're doing everything right. Okay? So, he filled out the long-term disability forms, because you see, when it's confirmed that there's something wrong with a child, especially if you're leading into cerebral palsies and muscular dystrophy and those kind of things, right? The government just kind of automatically sets you up with community resources to help you to cope with that and to be able to connect the children with the necessary services so that they can get the necessary equipment, whether it's feeding tubes or diapers or wheelchairs or whatever it may be, right? That's just the way it is, okay? So you get thrown into it. You don't necessarily want to be there, but it is what it is. Okay, so I take it with a grain of salt. But we all know that everybody in the background, for all these fucking workers, they're all whispering, well, ShaMay was the drug addict. She was the one that was doing drugs and injured Amari. But we're not going to acknowledge anything that happened at the time of his birth, or the fact that they sent her away for 3 days, and then they dragged it out for 12, and then they did an emergency C-section, even though his heart rate went down and fucking stayed down, right? And then all of a sudden he came out doing all this shit, right? And then we just neglected to do the MRI. We're going to ignore all that, and we're still going to blame the mother. Right? Because it's just that concerted effort, people, to protect the industry, to protect the public union sector, to protect all their portfolios and everything that's connected to their portfolios when it comes to public tax dollars going into their pension plans, blah, blah, blah. In addition to those tax dollars going into the healthcare system, to this department, this department, this department, this department, so that they can fucking exist. Basically. Okay? There hasn't been too many people towing that line with me, people. Okay? The few other people that did interviews with me, like, why? What was the point of doing interviews with me if you were just going to bury those fucking videos and basically hide the truth? Because maybe some mole approached you with some, who knows? Or what? You just didn't want to get involved because it was too serious, right? So I don't have too many people towing the line, right? But through Truth for Reality's commitment to stand strong, towing that line, regardless of the naysayers in the fucking community, because there's a lot of them, people. Because the majority of them don't want to get caught or be held to account or have the system change because it's too profitable to harvest organs illegally under the disguise of legal organ donation. Right? You have the umbrella of the legal donation, but everything else underneath is in disguise and tucked off over here and tucked off over there, and it's all a concerted effort through the targeting of families and individuals that are namely poor. Because we're told, go get a lawyer, go take us to court. When these individuals who say this know that we can't, because it's written in the legislation that we can't go to legal aid and ask for a lawyer to help us sue our government to hold them to account for the heinous crimes that they commit against innocent, vulnerable families and individuals. And that's why nothing changes. Okay. So anyway, every now and then, I'm emotional, people. Okay? Because it's getting close. And so, yeah, let me just finish with what my family doctor did. Okay, so I got a lot of running around with Amari. You know, they botched the MRI. I had to go find another family doctor. In the meantime, all these workers that I'm connected to are like, you need to go and sign up for the federal disability. You need to. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So that doctor didn't work, so I couldn't ask him, right? He did. Oh, actually, I did ask him, the first pediatrician. He didn't want to do it because he needed to confirm whatever the frick was wrong with Mari. So they did all these multiple tests on him, checked his chromosomes, did all this, botched their MRI, right? And then got attitude. So of course I had to go find another pediatrician. So that stalled for time, right? As my family doctor, eventually, because by the time I got my pediatrician doctor, right, the second pediatrician doctor, right, it was already being confirmed that he had cerebral palsy, even though he had floppy baby syndrome pretty much from the time he was born, and blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, I'm being needled in the ear that I need to fill out this federal form for the disability, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll go to my family doctor. He fills out a form. I send it to the federal government. Government sends it back to me, and it turns around and they fucking deny it because there was certain forms that were missing, or it wasn't filled out right, or whatever. Okay, so I'm dealing with life, people. I'm coping with life. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, as I'm under a fucking microscope constantly by these so-called professionals that aren't necessarily there, in my opinion, to be helpful. Because if they were helpful, they wouldn't be saying, go take it to court. Go get a lawyer. They wouldn't be hiding information, people. Or dropping a cue and then quickly running out the door and taking no responsibility for what they fucking know to be true. As I'm telling them that there's something wrong. My daughter was embalmed when I walked into the door. Just like I told that coroner on the phone, my daughter was embalmed. How could you possibly close her file when I'm telling you that she was embalmed? I have the fucking proof that she was embalmed. You need to investigate further. And you know what the coroner did? She just hung up the phone, people. Because they know there's no lawyer that's going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. For whatever reason. Because those lawyers basically fall under that two-tiered society where they're the predator class. Right? There's the predator class, and then there are those who are preyed upon. It's just the way it is. So, not too many people want to toe that line. Oh yeah, they'll talk. They'll talk for a while. Right? But when it gets serious, they're not going to toe the line, people. So anyway, okay, so, the first disability form to the federal government, let's just finish this little story first, right? Because I'm going to show you a pattern here. All right? Nobody can't say my government isn't fucking tweaking the files. Right? Because that's what they do. They go into your medical files. They go into your fucking any file that they can get into, they get into. And they fucking tweak those files, okay? That's how they got into Uncle John's shit, right? Anyway, so, okay, that was denied. The first one was denied, whatever. And of course, I'm still being needled by these other workers, right? Because it's a resource. Their job is to provide me with resources. So we got Amari's wheelchair. It's upstairs now, okay? So I'm really hoping I'll be able to teach him colors, with finger painting and stuff like that. But besides that point, that's another video, right? So, they connect you with those kind of things, right? And of course, getting your federal disability benefits for a disabled child that's going on 3.5 years old is one of those, well, did you do it yet? Did you do it yet? And well, no, I haven't done it yet because I'm having problems with doctors, people. First doctor number 1. Then doctor number 2, the shit was sent back to me. Doctor number 3 apparently just finished the paperwork. Just finished the paperwork, but there's another paper that I have to send in, and I'm supposed to be running around the house looking for it to confirm that he has cerebral palsy. And I'm like, no. You guys, it's on your records. You have the medical files. You're the ones that diagnosed them. Why aren't you supplying that information with the freaking form so that I don't have to send out the wrong paper and then have it come back to me and tell me it was denied because I didn't send out the right fucking form in terms of the confirmation. Right? So I'm like, waiting. Okay, fine. All right. And then, of course, I've been on long-term disability for a while now in terms of persons with multiple barriers, right? Since 2009. Okay? And, at one point I was told to go on long-term disability. So I did that. I had the application all filled out, people, right? By my family doctor. I submitted it. And all social services did was deny it. Okay? Even though it was them who told me to get it filled out. They denied it. And then they said I had 1 week to appeal it. The only thing is, my doctor was gone for 3 weeks when that all transpired. And I couldn't call upon him to adjust, do whatever, so that I could resubmit it under an appeal within that 1 week period. So it went off to the wayside. So, every 2 years they update the multiple barrier form. And they're like, well, why haven't you done a long-term disability? Obviously, there's a pattern here. This is the easy best for you, right? And I'm like, yeah, but I did that. And last time I did that, you guys denied it, right? I only had that 1 week window to do the application for an appeal, but my doctor just kind of suddenly, out of the blue, went on holidays for 3 weeks, so that forfeited anything. Well, you should have submitted it anyway. I'm like, well, I should have submitted it anyway? It specifically said on the form that the doctor had to do it, but the doctor wasn't there. Don't tell me I wasn't set up for failure, people, because I was. And then they fucking rub it in your face. That's what they did. Well, you should have done it anyway without your doctor. As if that would have made a difference. Because they were determined just to fuck with my head. Okay? So that's just another example of what I've been going through somewhat with this clinic, with my family doctor, whether he realizes it or not. Okay? And then, ShaMay dies. I get to the doctor. We discuss it briefly, right? And I'm telling what I think. He confirms to me, people, that she was dead before she showed up at the hospital and that I should get a lawyer if I am wanting to pursue the matter. Because Canada is corrupt. Because he knows about what happened with Uncle John and the fact that I got nowhere with it without a lawyer. Okay? Well, towing the line, right? It's time to lay the cards on the table, knowing that I'm going into a very dangerous situation and a very biased and prejudiced and unfair situation that puts my life in jeopardy, along with other family members that are still alive. But it has to be followed through, people. Okay? I have to follow through. And my doctor wants to turn his back on me by denying me access to my daughter's medical files. Because when I went in to start signing the papers, he was the first one who said, no, you can't. And then, of course, the receptionist jumped on board saying, oh, well, no, you can't. And I'm like, well, yes, I can. Oh, well, we got to talk to the boss, right? And I'm like, well, you go ahead. I'm still filling out my papers, right? Because I want these papers before I go to court for my own personal records. Because if my government does decide to do an investigation and stand up to the fucking plate, when they get their paperwork, people, those papers could be falsified, because there's already falsified records in ShaMay's medical files to the Surrey Memorial Hospital. having ShaMay's medical files through the clinic would confirm that. Or having ShaMay's medical files with the prenatal clinic would confirm that. Okay? But they don't want me to have that, people. They just want to make it hard. Just like they didn't want me to have that federal disability payment with Amari. That's why they keep playing it off. You know, I got the workers in my ear. Go get it. You need to do it. If you don't do it, you're being irresponsible. You know, they're not coming out and saying you're being irresponsible, but like, why aren't you doing it? You're entitled to do it. It will help, you know, blah, 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 blah. That's what we're here for. Here, we'll even fill out the paperwork for you. That was like 6 fucking months ago, right? The paperwork just now got filled out, even though everybody's known what's been wrong with the Mari since the beginning of his birth, to the point where they actually freaking tried to hide it by not doing that MRI, as they're casting judgment on me as if I'm the one who injured Amari. I'm really sensitive to this stuff, people, because it's been forever. It's been fucking forever. Like, these people just don't quit. Like, I'm so worn out with the gang stalking and the targeting of my family. But you know what? I am towing the line, and so is Truth for Reality. Everybody else that took the time to talk to me, to do those interviews, and then turn around and buried those fucking videos because what? Why? Are you jumping on that bandwagon where I'm the fucking criminal now? Right? I don't know what I'm talking about, as if I wasn't here, people? As if I didn't know what the hell I was talking about? Whispering in the background? Gossiping in the background? So anyway, the point of this video, okay, is I'm there now, people. Like I said, I've been past the gate a long time. Okay? I don't know what part of the game I'm in. I just know I'm past the gate. And maybe I'm going through another gate as soon as I serve my government with this notice of civil claim to get a proper investigation, as if that will really happen, because it's been nothing but cover-up throughout the whole process. Okay? In my opinion. And stalling for time. Right? But through it all, Truth for Reality has towed the line. And through his video, with him asking people to sign the petition, every now and then, I go into his video, I link into the petition from his video, and I see the numbers in terms of the signatures trickling in. You know, 4 here, 2 there, and we're at 1,499. We're one shy short of 1,500 signatures. That's amazing, right? It took a long time to get there. I know it's a subject that makes people uncomfortable. It's unbelievable. God forbid if it should happen to them and their family members or member, right? And you know, for some people, it's a benefit for them to have that underground economy because they get rich. You know, they're powerful, right? You know, they get a pat on the back for being criminals because birds of a feather flock together. So outside of that, we're one short of 1,500. And I just ordered some ink today. So in the next week or two, hopefully we'll get that last signature. We'll be at 1,500 signatures. I'm going to print it out. I don't care what it costs me to print that out. And when I serve my government, I'm going to try and include that in with my, 19-page notice of claim. Okay? That's what I'm going to do, people, because those are the ones that have been towing the line. Truth for Reality has provided the leadership for 1,500 other people to toe the line. So even though I feel like I'm the only one at this point, going to the courthouse, towing that line. There are 1,499 other people right beside me. Okay? So that's a milestone. So what I should do is I should put this video as an update on that petition. I'm going to forward it to my Facebook page. And hopefully, through all that, we'll get that last signature coming in and cap it at 1,500, right? And that gives me that extra fuel, energy, just to serve my government and hold them to account for what they're doing to the people, the most vulnerable in the province of British Columbia, Canada. Okay? And with those signatures, perhaps the government just might do the right thing and get into ShaMay's medical files, the ones that I can't get. Right? And start doing a thorough investigation as to how much it cost to put her dead body on a hospital bed for 9 days and fool family and friends in terms of what they did to her, even though she was dead in the basement when I first got to her. And don't forget, she was dead for an hour before I even got to her, people, and her body had been moved and positioned and staged to be in the position that it was in. Okay? This is something that the government of British Columbia, Canada, needs to acknowledge so that they can start protecting other vulnerable people who are being murdered with fentanyl out here while our public service union sector is covering it up because they're too busy chomping on the bit looking for the profit through that underground economy. As they work together in a concerted effort to hide that fact. That's a hard line to toe, people. But for the ones that have been towing it, God bless you. Honest to God, God bless you. God bless your loved ones. God bless your community. God bless your nation. So why don't we leave it on that? Okay, I have to put on my glasses because everything's all fuzzy. Because we know I'm going blind. With or without a family doctor, it doesn't matter. Right? You can see it for yourself. One shy. Okay? I'm going to upload this. I'll put it down as an update. I'll post it onto my Facebook. And within another week or so, or two, I will print out all these signatures. I already have the comments printed out. I've read them. Right? And that's what I'm going to submit at the time when I actually serve my government that 19-page notice of civil claim that not only addresses Auntie ShaMay's issue, but it brings up Uncle John's issue right back up to the surface, people. If Uncle John would have never been treated the way he was treated, none of this would have happened. Okay? None of this. ShaMay would be a registered nurse today if Uncle John wouldn't have been medically kidnapped, with or without an inheritance that he was never told about. The only reason they medically kidnapped him is because they wanted to steal his money that they didn't tell him about for 14 months. Go into my videos. The only reason ShaMay ended up on a bed for 9 days at taxpayers' expense, looking like she was in a funeral home, embalmed, was because they were covering up the fact that they illegally harvested her organs and sold them, and including her teeth, on the black market. I stand my ground. That is the line that I am towing, and I want to personally thank Truth for Reality again for standing there with me and opening up that opportunity for 1,499 individuals standing with us.